Hi, I am Kevin Quigley, and welcome to Tarot Off the Cuff. I picked up my first tarot deck in 1982 when I was 12 years old. I spent the summer giving readings to my friends and kind of freaking them out, and then I misplaced it. Maybe 15 years later, I picked up another tarot deck, and I've been reading professionally pretty much since then. Tarot reading for me is about building up a conversation. A conversation not just between myself and my client, but between our higher selves, so that we might bring down some information that might help make us a little bit more conscious and maybe even our lives a little bit better.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Tarot Off the Cuff. My name is Kevin Quigley. We've got a big holiday in the United States coming up, Thanksgiving. So I thought that what I would do is pull a card and combine it or seed it with the idea of gratitude right off the bat. Usually we just pull a card and start talking, or come up with a topic and then start talking. In this case, I'm going to combine whatever that card is with the idea of gratitude. Now, I do realize that especially in the United States, in some circles, this is a pretty controversial holiday. It's almost considered to be the start of colonial mistreatment of indigenous people. So I do want to make sure that I am being sensitive to that and acknowledging that as the way many people feel, and I'm not entirely off of that page myself. But I do like, one of the things I like to do is I take a look at the holidays that we celebrate and can we bring them down to their healthiest core nugget. So gratitude, let's start there. All right, I've got the Light Seer's Tarot in my hands right now, and I'm giving them some quick final shuffles. Let's set this down and grab a card. Okay. So I pulled the Six of Wands, which is a little bit funny considering gratitude is the theme here, and there is a woman or perhaps a long-haired man in a kilt or a skirt stepping out on a stage near the fiery torch and the wreath with a bunch of lights up there in the canopy beaming down on her. So we can assume there's an audience out there. In fact, yeah, you can see the shapes of hands and people there in that sort of pink background. Very similar to a traditional Rider-Waite that has the individual returning perhaps from battle on a horse, on a charger, on a white stallion. They are being, their praises are being sung. So I suppose in a cynical way, one could refer to this idea of gratitude as being sure to express a sense of thanks when someone is receiving something that they've worked hard for, in this case maybe attention, right? So there's gratitude going in both directions. Now, many people know that I'm also a performer, and I'm on stage fairly frequently, and to my experience for a while, especially in my 20s, it was difficult to accept applause. I always felt that when I was performing, especially if there was improvisation involved in the gig, either contemporary weird improvisation or scat singing with blues or bebop or something like that, that I was channeling something. The sense was that I was channeling and that I was not making these choices myself, right? So it felt weird to accept applause on behalf of something that, when the performance was happening, was, in a way, it was not me. I'm over that now, and the thing that got me over that is that it's important to be able to accept the gratitude and or the love that is being expressed by an audience in appreciation for what they had just witnessed or observed or experienced along with you. And to not do so is a tacit, sort of quiet, silent way to say thanks but no thanks, or maybe even just no thanks, right? So that's an interesting one for me. I've had my own little journey with that. So there is thanks being offered in both directions in this situation. Where's that card again? Thanks from the audience towards the performer or the person on the stage, who knows if they're performing, right? And thanks from the performer to the audience. So there's gratitude moving in both directions. This happens often before the performance even starts, and hopefully if things went well after the performance has concluded, right? In jazz circles, now that I even just think about it, the gratitude happens sometimes right in the middle. If you are really wailing it on a solo and the audience is coming along for that ride wherever you're taking them, it is completely acceptable for a jazz audience or even a gospel or a blues audience to shout out loud, yeah, or go. You'll hear something right in the middle. I love audiences that feel empowered that way. So, how do we pull this into a tarot reading? This idea of gratitude and the Six of Wands. So, the Six of Wands is collecting your just rewards, right? Sixes for me, if we take a look at it, we've got the hexagram, the six-pointed star, the Star of David. We've got a triangle pointing up, sending energy from the material realm into the heavenly realm, and we have a triangle pointing down. Those are superimposed, and that one is bringing energy from the heavenly realm down into the material realm. So there is it's not just an as above, so below, but there is a clear sense of exchange, energy moving in both directions. Gratitude, in its healthiest state, I want to say, is something that can be expressed before the exchange even starts. One could even place gratitude into the contract as you're getting to go. So if I'm starting a reading, I like to start a tarot reading with this idea that thankfulness should be included in basically every single step that we take, that we undergo. So when I bring someone in, I want to make sure that they feel seen. So I'll ask them to pronounce their name for me often, whether or not, sometimes it's an obvious pronunciation. In most cases it is, or in most cases when it's obvious it is. And then sometimes even with an obvious name, they might have a strange or unusual pronunciation, right? So I like to hear that, and then I'll reflect the name back to them. I'll say it back. Oh, Jennifer. That establishes a connection right there. Like, I see you. It's important to me that I know who you are and how you state your name. I will put into my own body. Next words that I come out with are, I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for being here. I'm glad that we get the opportunity to do this, right? So gratitude enters in immediately. So the next thing for me is, how does gratitude actually work? I wrote a poem on this many years ago. This idea that gratitude for me is an allowance. Gratitude is you opening up your own heart to what the world has to bring to you. If you're unable to do that, the bounty of life, of living an abundant life, I believe, lessens, or may just go unrecognized, perhaps. So that's an interesting thing. This is easy to do, in my opinion, when things are going great, right? Oh, great. I've got a full schedule. I'm being paid well. I've got lots of things that I can easily count to be grateful for. This gets tougher when things are hard, or when there are times of sparseness or a lack of abundance, right? How do you act with gratitude in that case? And I love, you'll see these go around sort of on social media sometimes in memes. And right now, no matter what's happening in your life, no matter what's happening in your day, can you name 3 things? Can you list 3 things that you are grateful for? And it's okay if they're tiny and mundane. So, like, for instance, right now, I'm wearing a new pair of fuzzy sit around the house pants because I've had the day off. And I'm super grateful for how comfortable they are. That is delightful. I'm grateful that I just upgraded my iPhone, which gives me a better camera, and I'm able to actually produce a nicer looking video with better audio on it. And I'm super grateful for the opportunity to serve my community, people that are interested in picking up a tarot deck and doing readings. That being said, there's a lot of things that I could list that are hard for me right now. I'm not going to list those because that actually goes counter to the actual practice of gratitude. Starts to open me up. And you'll even notice that when I started even talking about the 3 things I was grateful for, laughter came into my body. Wasn't that I was finding something funny, but it was that there was energy and light that just showed up for me and gave me access. Those endorphins, this dopamine and serotonin and stuff. So when we do that, when we express some gratitude at the beginning of a reading, it's not a small moment, especially if we've drawn someone to us for that particular reading that's having a tough time, that's gone through a difficult situation or a pretty big collapse in their life of some kind. And oftentimes when someone comes to us for a reading, that's why, right? So we see people that are troubled or in trouble more than 50% of the time, I believe. That's certainly true in my practice. So that little moment of gratitude, it doesn't deny how they're feeling. It doesn't give a false, everything's going to be okay. But what it does do is say, we're here, we're alive, we're still able to consciously process, we're still looking for solutions. We've got this time together that we can sit down and take an honest, straightforward look at that. Usually, or maybe not usually, but quite often, that person will not only relax a little bit, they'll open up a little bit, but they'll offer their gratitude for the situation right back. Oh, I'm so glad you were able to make time, right? So now we've got a reciprocal sense of thanks that's entered into our equation. I think that's never a bad thing. Then we can shuffle our cards and off we go, right? So now the next thing I want to get to is, or maybe even the last thing I want to get to for this short talk, is this idea of when it's not easy to express that gratitude, to open that heart and to experience the allowance of thankfulness to enter in. In fact, I was doing a reading yesterday in a tarot class. This wasn't for a person. What I do in many of those situations, I'll just start laying cards down and then we'll come up with a story that works. So say this client comes in and yada, yada, yada. These things happen. In this case, we were doing what I refer to as a bridge spread. It's a 3-card spread. The first card we put down says, this is where you are. The second card we put down, a distance horizontally away from that, talks about what's your next step? Where are you going? Where would you even like to go? What's the right place to put your foot, right? And then the third, I put horizontally in between to say, what's the most efficient or the most graceful way to get from A to B? The second card I laid down in the sample spread was the Tower. So oftentimes when that card gets put down on the table, we've got a moment of a panic attack, or even as readers, pause a little, maybe we'll take a deep breath and we'll say, okay, there's a big change that's coming and it may not be entirely pleasant. As you read, you'll get better and better at delivering that kind of news. And since that's not my topic for right now, we're going to save the technique for how do you deliver hard news in a way that's useful and doesn't tighten someone up. Well, one of the ways to open is we deal with gratitude, and gratitude is 100% my personal philosophy for these moments, as well as what I work into my readings. So let's say we've got the Tower coming up, and in this case, we were talking about someone that was suspecting. Oh no, we had decided that we were reading for the spouse of a partner. The partner really wanted to have kids, and the spouse, the person we were reading for, was uncertain whether or not they were ready, right? So the Tower hits, and now I know, okay, stakes in this situation are pretty big. I'm going to slow down with the reading, and I'm going to give them a little bit of a preview to let them know that the Tower is a card that can be sometimes difficult to negotiate. However, gratitude is still the key, because when the Tower shows up, as most of us know, it's not just talking about a collapse of a system or a rule or a way that we've been living our lives that has worked for a long time, but now is proving to be ineffective, right? So maybe it needs to be replaced or refurbished. But it's such a big piece of who we are that letting that go, or the shock of discovering that it's no longer functional, can be hard to handle. However, Major Arcana, this is a lesson that's vital for us to learn if we're going to continue on our spiritual journey of becoming more conscious, truer versions of the grander being that we know we are deep inside. So there's already the capability to be grateful for, thank you. Thank you for bringing me the difficult situation. Thank you for allowing me to step into this with consciousness, with love, and with gratitude, with this gratitude, because I know I need to encounter this difficulty and move through it and move beyond it. That's big stuff. That is what I would refer to sort of as the master's degree level of gratitude. It's easy to be grateful when you're getting what you want and things are good. Maybe level 2. So that would be the discs level. I'm going to put this in the tarot suits. We move up to the swords level of gratitude. Swords level of gratitude is being grateful or happy when good things happen for other people or other systems that don't necessarily directly affect us, but we know that the world has just been improved. Next level of gratitude is being grateful for, and this is the one I'm talking about with that tower, for the challenges, for the difficulties, for the things that don't work out so well for us when they arrive. That's the master's degree. That's the cups, the queen level of gratitude. And then the king level of gratitude, the wands level of gratitude, is being grateful for existence itself all the time. Think about what that might do to your overall outlook, your overall daily situation. We talk about the ability to manifest things in the world. And if you begin with a sense of gratitude right away, look at what I've got. I've got a mind that works. I've got a body that's working as well as it is, right? I am here. I'm alive. I have the capacity to experience love. I even have the capacity to experience pain. Like these things are all working for me. You begin there, and you've opened your heart up, and the allowance, the state of allowance that you can then step into to manifest a better world for yourself without even trying, increases. Maybe even increases tenfold. But I would even say that's the starting line for spiritual progression. Gratitude. We started with that 6 of Wands, this idea of I'll step out onto the stage. I will step out into the world, and I'm going to offer to you what I have to offer. I've been working on it. I've been polishing it, my act, my song, my personality, who I am, my mission, my purpose. I'm going to make a sincere offering of that, and I am grateful I have the opportunity to do so. And you will discover that if you enter the situation with a humble gratitude, you will almost always receive it in return from the world, from the other people that are the beneficiaries of what it is you have to offer, and on and on. Happy Thanksgiving, especially if you're looking at this around the Thanksgiving. I know that lots of different countries of people that will listen do celebrate Thanksgiving, but they all do it on their different days, and they all do it in different ways. But we're tied together by this idea of recognizing that gratitude's really kind of important. It's an important sentiment to bring into us. My name is Kevin Quigley. I've been reading with the Light Seers Tarot for Tarot Off the Cuff. We'll see you again soon. Bye.
Hey, this is Kevin.
Hi, this is Nooch.
Thanks for watching.
If you like what you saw, please hit a thumbs up and subscribe. You'll know when new ones are coming. And share with your friends.
We'll see you soon.